Hello, I'm Paul Bickerdyke, editor of Railway Magazine, speaking with Chris Milner, who's my predecessor. So Chris, here's an interesting issue from 1999. On the cover here we've got two of the latest trains at the time. We've got the Pendolino and we've got the new Gatwick Express stop.
Yeah, I think this was quite an interesting end of a decade, really, because we'd obviously gone into privatisation in the mid-90s, and this was now the fulfilment of a number of train orders starting to come to fruition, with obviously Virgin replacing the Class 87s and Mark 3s on the West Coast with the Pendolinos that would tilt, and the new trains for the Gatwick Express, which, you know, ironically, 20 years on, don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
You know, they've been subsumed into other types of unit.
And yeah, the Pendolinos, of course, are still going.
Yes, they're still very much. I mean, even here we've got Midland Mainline Turbostar testing, again, something fairly new, which are really the backbone of a lot of regional services today.
And Turbostars are back on the Midland Mainline, are they?
Well, they're working certainly Nottingham, Derby, Leicester services as well. But yeah, I mean, it's actually, you look at this and it gives you a real snapshot of history and how things have gone on to improve over the years. You know, a lot of this I can recall writing at the time. You know, it's absolutely been fascinating to look at.
Yeah. What was your role then in 1999?
I think I was assistant editor. Yes, I was assistant editor. So I'd been with the magazine just about 9 years at the time. So.
Well, and what's this one being built here?
That's the Gatwick without the Snoopy
without
nose,
the pointy nose.
Yes.
Yeah.
But again, some interesting features in this magazine. You know, looking at Falcon, you know, the prototype that sort of never really developed, and
just one of the many that we wish we still.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we still had.
And you know, automotive movement, that is still a very big part of rail freight today, moving cars around the country. Ford move a lot of cars, Jaguar and Land Rover take a lot of stuff for export to Southampton.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget there's still quite a significant car manufacturing going on, isn't there?
Despite the difficulties we've been through the past 12 months, yes.
Yeah.
And we also did this, which turned into be a very good series. We did the Atlas of Heritage Railways. We got agreement with Ordnance Survey to use extracts of their Ordnance Survey maps, their 1 to 50,000 maps, but we paired them with gradient profiles so people could see the distance and the gradient profiles, and these actually were pull-outs that formed into a little booklet, and they're still exceptionally useful today to sort of work
all these lines are
they still all exist, and they were great to work out potential photo locations.
You could see where they'd be thrashing up the bank or something. Yeah.
I mean, there's an interesting panorama sponsored by Fuji Sensia Film. Well, you know, that was in the pre-digital days.
Yes.
I mean, I moved to digital in 2002, and I've still got probably 30 to 40,000 slides, which I'm still working my way through trying to scan. You know, it's a massive undertaking.
Yeah.
Possibly not been helped by the fact I've just been given another 3,000 or 4,000 by an old railway colleague who passed away earlier in the year.
But be busy then scanning.
Yes, I'm going to be very busy. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's an entirely digital process now, really, isn't it? Putting the magazine together.
It is. It was obviously more of a digital process then because we were using software called Quark Express to do the page layouts in house. But we still relied very much on colour prints and colour transparencies or black and white pictures being sent in by readers.
That was quite an operation in itself, wasn't it? Returning them to readers and dealing with them.
Managing them.
Yeah. Whereas now somebody will email you in a bunch of a dozen pictures.
And you can flip through them very quickly. Yeah. And I think the other thing that's significantly different is now that we tended to produce this magazine in an office in London at the time, where myself and the then editor, we were going in 2 days a week. But now we've got to the stage, certainly through the last 12 months of the pandemic, we can produce a complete magazine from home. We don't need to sit in an office.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? COVID has shown us how easily that can be done with a designer over here and an editor here and a production editor over there.
Well, I think,
and it still comes together, doesn't it?
I think a lot of people still are pushing, saying you don't need to travel and do this with working from home, but I still think there is no substitute for being in the room as people you work with and having ideas and spontaneity kicking off for how to take things forward. And that's what you can't do over Zoom. We'll see what happens over the next few months.
Yeah. I mean, this is just over 20 years ago now, and much has changed then. We were in the early years of privatisation then, and we possibly look like we're past the privatisation era now and into
another era of everything as concessions under government control. Yes, it's gone full circle, like things tend to do. Yeah.
But some things haven't changed. I mean, we've always done practice and performance, haven't we? That's a key staple of the magazine.
Yes, that's in here somewhere. That's been there since 1901, I think it is. It's certainly the early 1900s. And apparently there was only one which never appeared.
Right.
Which the story goes that the author at the time, which I seem to recall was Cecil J. Allen, was particularly critical of Gresley Pacifics, and the editor was a personal friend of Gresley, so
said, we're not using that.
So it got spiked and said, yes, we're not using it.
Right. So once in 120
odd years, it's never appeared. So, but yes, it's a fascinating snapshot, isn't it?
Well, that's the thing, in the office when you go into the archive, you're going for one thing, you can spend half a day there, you get sidetracked by looking at all these back issues and things we've covered over the years.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I mean, the magazine says on the front, the entire rail seen in one magazine, and that really sums up what Railway Magazine is.
Yeah, exactly.